Hey guys, Josh here from Sportitude Running, and it's shoe review time, and we're going to be talking all things Asics Novablast 2. This shoe here I hold in my hand has just landed in the warehouse, and there's some pretty exciting developments with this shoe here on top of what Asics had with the version 1 through the front half of 2021, the back half of 2020. So in today's review, we're going to talk about the outsole, the midsole, and the upper, profile the foot type, or the runner that could be considering this shoe, give you all the information you need at home to, who knows, throw this into your shoe rotation. So make yourself a cup of tea, and let's get stuck in. Okay guys, before we dive into the engineering of the Novablast 2, let's just talk about the foot type they could be considering this shoe here. So it is a neutral shoe. So what we're talking about there is there's been no strategically placed medial posting or support system on the midsole through here. So what we're talking about there is a runner that when they come through their gait cycle, make contact with the ground, transition through that mid-stance phase of their gait, you won't tend to see a bias towards that medial side, so they won't overpronate too much. More often than not, when we're putting someone in Novablast, we're looking for that neutral gait. So more of the pressure is going to go through the central part of the shoe. And if they happen to have a little bit of a lateral tilt, bias towards supinating, that's still okay. That being the case, I myself am a mild overpronator, and I have very much enjoyed version 1 with the Novablast, and my experience did not change with version 2. So I had my pair, I've had them for around about 6 weeks now, put in about 40 kilometers in them, so that was 4 10K runs, and so far so good. So let's get stuck into the engineering of this shoe and what it is all about. First things first, let's talk about the outsole. So I'll hold up a version 1 in my hand through here, and as you can see to the naked eye underneath the foot, there is nothing that has changed at all. There's been some early feedback that the rubber might be marginally thicker in version 2, but to the naked eye and from an experience perspective running them, I don't think there's been a change with the rubber. It is the same thickness, it's the same material that protects the wall of this midsole. So as you can see through here, as you transition around the whole midsole itself, at the outsole part of me, you can see that there is a part of this shoe that is been placed to offer protection for that midsole and keep that foot nice and stable on top of the ground. There is a little bit of a decoupled vertical line through here, and as you come through to the forefoot, now that for me offers a little bit more cushioning and a little bit more release when you go through that exit strategy of your gait cycle. So the decoupling line at the back half through here does work in conjunction with the midsole to offer a bit more compression, but as you come through to that forefoot, you get a little bit back, a bit more feedback through the release of your toe off, and that's strategic. It's because of the pod which sits on the forefoot through here. So it's almost like a reverse Met dome, for those of you that know what a Met dome is in an orthotic. As we come through to the midsole, this is where we start to talk about the changes within the Novablast 2. So when we hold the Novablast 1 up in my hand, we'll talk all things stack height first, because there has been a change with regards to the offset. Last year we were running a 10mm heel to toe drop. This year we're running an 8mm heel to toe drop, so a 2mm variance between both models. And where the change comes in, it's the same stack in the forefoot. Asics are running 30mm in the heel, 22 in the forefoot, and they used to run 32 heel and 22 in the forefoot. So you might think there's a little bit less cushioning on offer underneath the heel with regards to the version 2, but that is not the case at all, because if you can see the change with regards to almost like the foam architecture, it's a fancy way of saying Asics have just changed the cutaways with regards to this sort of concave and convex setup around the medial and lateral component of this heel. This shoe itself, when you do come down and you hit the ground first, be it heel striking or midfoot striking, you get a little bit more compression underneath the shoe or underneath your body, and that's purely and simply because of the way they have cut away this midsole. It's a very clever way to offer a little bit more cushioning without providing more stack. And then as we talk about the midsole as well, we've got to call it out. They're using their Flight Foam Blast technology, and that is full length, heel right through to forefoot and lateral and medial side. A very consistent transition the whole way through your gait cycle. And being a neutral shoe, as we touched on earlier, there is no strategically placed arch support underneath the arch itself on the midsole. So it is a neutral design with regards to the engineering. Okay guys, the other small changes do come in the upper with this shoe. So the first thing I'll call out is the biggest change, and that's the fact that the tongue is now gusseted. So you have a piece of material that runs from the tongue down to the medial side of that midsole, and the same thing with a piece of material from the tongue to the lateral side of that midsole. Small piece of criticism which I personally found with V1, and I don't want to be harsh because I really enjoyed this shoe. However, I did find that I lacked a little bit of extra support on top of this midsole. The midsole was fun. I enjoyed what that shoe gave me underneath the foot, but the upper just lacked a little bit of support. And what I found with my 40 clicks so far in V2 is my foot sits so much nicer on this midsole, and that's purely and simply because that gusseted tongue just locks it down nicely. Jacquard mesh, engineered forefoot, plenty of breathability, nice and strong with regards to the materials used through that forefoot, but again, not compromising weight and breathability. Coming back to the heel counter, again, a small adjustment, but we have an internal heel counter on offer, so plenty of support for the back of that heel calcaneal region, but there is a little TPU strip on the lateral and the medial side, which just comes up around the external part of this heel counter, which just provides a little bit more support as well. Small thing, but a big thing for me. I love it when brands nail the execution of the memory foam inside, and without going into too much detail, the Novablast 2 is everything I want in an internal heel collar and more. Very comfortable. Okay, in summary guys, the Novablast 2, in my opinion, has delivered on expectations. With the version 1 having such a great 12 months, first of its kind to market, there was a lot of runners that really enjoyed that lightweight, soft ride underneath the foot. But the great thing about Asics is the adjustments that they've made in version 2, I believe will make the shoe more comfortable and more runnable, and probably hit a wider demographic of runners that are searching for a lightweight, cushioned shoe for daily training and also some tempo runs as well. So to touch on the major changes, essentially the shoe itself has dropped 2 millimeters with regards to the heel to toe offset. Previously a 10 millimeter, now an 8 millimeter heel to toe drop. It is a 265 gram size 9 for men's and around a 225 gram size 7 in the ladies. So not the lightest, but not the heaviest as well. So a nice lightweight fit and feel underneath the body. The other thing to call out is, yes, I said a couple of times it can be used for daily training. It's not going to be as durable as your Cumulus and your Nimbus. It just needs to be called out, I suppose. But it's certainly something that you can throw into your shoe rotation to complement your mileage running when you want something a little lighter on your foot and something that's going to provide plenty of cushioning at the same time. So if you've got any questions, guys, about the Novablast shoe, please let us know in the comments section below. If you happen to be a Novablast 1 user and you loved it or you hated it or you weren't sure, let us know. We love to hear your feedback underneath. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the red button, stay notified, and we'll keep pumping out these shoe reviews for you, the running community here in Australia and all around the world. And until next time, stay safe, be kind to one another, happy running, and we'll see you out on the road. Take care.